Hey everyone, Kirsten here, and I wanted to hop on and let you know about the race I just did, Oceanside 70.3. That was last weekend, April 2nd, 2022. A quick course preview. So for those of you considering if this is the 70.3 you want to do, it is in Oceanside. It's in Southern California. And this year it was the most perfect weather ever. It was like 60 degrees and overcast the entire day. So if you're looking for amazing weather, it's not always like that. Like I've done it before when it's been raining. I've done it before when it's been really hot or really humid. But this year it was fantastic weather. So if you're looking for that kind of temperate climate, moderate weather, it was really good this year. So starting from the beginning, logistically, it's pretty average as far as how complicated it is to check in and check in your bike and get from one transition to the other transition, parking, stuff like that. I would say pretty average. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't super easy. Race morning, you do have to take a shuttle to the start, which again isn't horrible, but it's just not as easy as one transition where you're just parked there the whole time. We did have a rolling start for the swim, and we had to go through the surf. So you run on the beach, and then you have to go through the little wave break things, which I've never done before. So that was quite interesting experience for me. Sorry, I've been sick all week too. So if you're not a super strong swimmer or a super confident swimmer, this might not be the best one to start with as far as swimming, because it is a little intimidating. And even though I'm a confident swimmer, I was a little freaked out going under the waves because all the sand churns up, and I would come up from the waves and I'm like out of breath. So I was like breaststroking to the next wave, and I felt like it took forever for me to get past the break. I think there was like 5 waves that we had to get past. Once we got past, it was super calm, gorgeous. The water was warmer than it's ever been since I've done that race 6 times. Usually the water is mid 50s. It was low 60s. It was not cold at all. And so as far as like temperature, full wetsuit, it was like 61 or 62. Full wetsuit, but no big deal. No numb fingers, no numb toes, no numb face, no shock when you first hit the water, especially since you kind of ease into it because you're getting splashed a little bit by the waves first. So kind of like worked your way in. So then you exit the swim. Transition was pretty long, but I think these days with how big the races are, all the transitions seem really long, like the transition run. And then I ended up holding my shoes and running barefoot out to the bike exit because I was on the far end of transition. So, that's just an option. Some people run bare feet and they put their shoes on their bike. I don't do that. I usually run with my shoes, but right now they have like a shim and a plate and a cleat, and I just didn't want to fall over. So I just carried my shoes and ran out. The one thing I would have changed is I would have taken a bottle of water with me to wash off my feet, because the blacktop thing that all our bikes were on in transition was really, really dirty. And when I got to putting on my shoes, my feet were like black on the bottom with little rocks and stuff. So I was wiping them off, and my hands were all dirty. I was wiping it on my kit, and my kit's all dirty. So it just felt really dirty. The bike course is gorgeous. We go through Camp Pendleton. There's lots of support. There's all the Marines there helping out. The road is fairly good, in good shape. There was a few parts that were rough. I actually lost my water bottle, my Aero bottle, 3 times, which I've never done before. It just kept flying off. But other than those, like a couple little bumps, the road's, pretty decent. There is, there's some climbing. It's considered a rolling course. There's 3 hills that I would say are significant. So if you are planning on doing the course, definitely practice on some hills, train on some hills, do some strength work so you're ready for them, but nothing like a crazy climb. Just like, and they're all like in one area. So So yeah, nothing crazy on the hills, but definitely get some climbing training in a little bit. The one thing I will say that I was surprised about on the bike, on the way back, you go through the same chute as you run through after the swim. So it was kind of zigzaggy and you bike through it. So it wasn't very wide at all. Like your bike was the only thing that could fit through, and it was kind of like zigzaggy. So that was a little nerve wracking, and I didn't know about that. So something to know about that if they do that again. And then run. The run is beautiful. It's half along the beach, half up on the road up above the beach. So there's a couple steep where you go from the beach to the road, and from the road to the beach is really steep. Like only a few people were running it. But then the rest of the race is a little bit wavy. So a little incline, a little decline, no big hills or anything, but just knowing that there's, there's a little uphill, a little downhill. So the run is 2 loops. The bike's only 1 loop. The run is 2 loops. It's like 1 3/4 loop. And it's a great run. There are people the whole entire way. So spectators and just people hanging around. You see you see all the people in the race the whole time. So I really like the run. It got a little humid, but only because I'm from Colorado. I'm sure it wasn't that humid. It definitely felt humid, but with it being 60s and overcast, it was really amazing as far as temperature. The finish is really nice. It's right down near the beach, and it's 2 different transitions. So I mean, it's one transition, but you finish away from the transition. So then you have to go back to get your stuff to the transition. It's about a mile away, so it's not that big of a deal. So yeah, that's the course. So I would say if you're considering doing this course, it's the swim is a little bit harder than average 70.3 because of the break, and the bike is pretty average. The run is, I would say, fairly easy compared to some other runs out there. So if you are strong in the run and like a couple hills and decent in the swim, this might be a really fun race for you. It's really early for a lot of people. Like in Colorado, we don't get a bike outside a lot before the beginning of April. So it is a little bit of a challenge getting in the training if you're from a colder climate or someplace that snows. But I'm sure there's a lot of people in that same position. So I wouldn't let that deter you at all. And then as far as my race, I went into it back, I signed up in 2020, then deferred to 2022. And I really wanted to do well in this race because I've done it 6 times and I've never had a great race in Oceanside. So I was really wanting to train hard, go hard. And I had some things happen in December and January, kind of threw me off a little bit. So I hit it back hard in February and March. So I feel like I did all I could do for training. I changed some things on my bike, which I wasn't crazy about, but I hadn't tried it out in a race. So I was excited to see or anxious to see kind of how it went. Like I said earlier, the swim was I was a little nerve-wracked in the swim, and I literally felt like it took me 10 minutes to get past the waves, which it didn't because my whole swim time was 30 minutes. But I felt like I was really slow. The good thing is there was ton of safety people out there for anyone who did feel kind of nervous about it. And the awesome thing was I got prescription goggles. So I could see the buoys, and it was probably the first straight swim I've done in 3 years. So that was amazing. I'm really happy about my prescription goggles. I got sick the day before the race, which is why I sound like this right now. And so I was a little kind of frustrated that, I trained really hard and I even tapered a little bit and, traveled to the race, and the day before the race I get sick, but I don't think it really affected me other than I was draining all day. And then after the race, I couldn't talk for, I think, 3 days. So my voice is just now starting to come back. So after the swim, I came in. I didn't rush through transition. I didn't go slow, but I didn't rush through transition like I have in the past. I guess I just wanted to make sure that, I don't know why I didn't rush through transition because I normally do. But like I said, I carried my shoes to the bike exit My feet were really dirty. Wish I would have had a bottle of water for that. Other than that, everything felt good. Jumped on my bike. My bike finally feels really comfortable. So I was having a lot of problems with my saddle and my handlebars and stuff. And I felt really comfortable the whole time. I was in aero almost the whole entire ride. But I felt like I was not getting the power that I wanted to get on my ride. And I don't bike with any sort of feedback. Like I don't wear a watch or I don't have a bike computer or anything. I just go by feel. And it just felt like I was struggling. And I was getting passed by a lot of people. So I usually get passed by people on the bike because I'm a decent swimmer, but I was getting passed by more than normal amount of people on the bike. So it was really disheartening, and it like breaks my confidence a lot. So I think I'm gonna change some things on my bike before my next race because I didn't feel like I was biking to the best of my ability. And my time was a lot slower than it normally is for my bike. So I ended up 2:56 on my bike, and nothing like felt horrible. I just couldn't bike any harder. So like I said, I think I'm just going to change some things back and see how that goes for my next ride. So I come back in transition and go head off on the run. I felt really, really good starting the run. And I didn't know what pace I was going. So it started getting hard pretty quickly. And I was like, I must be just like tired. Maybe it's because I'm sick. Maybe it's because whatever. But when I looked later at my run splits, it's because I was going out too fast because I got excited. I was off the bike. I was ready to run. So I ended up, not bad. I didn't like crash down on the run, but I started off a little fast. So the end was a little bit of a struggle, but I actually got the exact run time that I wanted to get. I got an hour and 48 minutes for the run. So my overall time was 5:24, and I ended up 4th in my age group, which I was extremely happy with that because my best place in Oceanside has been 12th. So this is the best I've ever done at this race as far as placing. And so I was really, really happy with that. So yeah, I had a really good race. My highlights were my goggles. I was comfortable on the bike. That's a huge highlight. And I ran really strong. Finished 4th. I ended up getting a spot. There was 3 spots in my age group. We had a really big age group this year for 70.3 Worlds, and I got a roll down because I was 4th. So I qualified for that. So that was a plus. And then the things I would take away to work on is if ever I'm going to do a beach thing again, I need to find some way to train that or practice that. Or maybe even now that I've done it once, I'll feel more confident doing it. Number 2, if I'm going to be running down the transition barefoot, I need to clean off my feet somehow because it was really gross. And then I'd say the third takeaway is I want to still figure out a different position on my bike for my next race, so that I can feel like I'm getting a little more power. And so here's something I thought was really interesting. So in my age group, this is one reason why I love triathlon. So I was the 5th fastest swim in my age group. I was the 11th fastest bike. And then I was the 9th fastest run. So 5th, 11th, and 9th isn't that great, right? You would think like maybe 10th place or something, but I got 4th. And this is why I love triathlon. You don't have to be you don't have to be the best swimmer. You don't have to be the best cyclist. You don't have to be the best runner to still place well in triathlon. You just have to be like pretty good at all 3. So, I know there's a lot of different opinions out there, whether you like work your strength, work your weaknesses. In my opinion, as a triathlete, and I'm a triathlon coach as well, I think you should work on your weaknesses, because if you can get a little better in each one, that's going to exponentially raise your ranking, your place, if that's something that you care about. Because, I got 5th in the swim, 11th in the bike, 9th in the run. That, like, logically, you wouldn't think that would equate to 4th place. So I like that, being well-rounded. I don't have to be amazing at anything, being well-rounded. I could pull off 4th place. So I think that's something that is really cool about triathlon, and that really attracted me to triathlon in the first place, is that just work hard at each discipline, work on your weaknesses, bring them up a little bit, and you'll become an overall better triathlete. So if you guys have any questions, specific questions about the course, let me know. Like I said, I've done it 6 times. It's always a little bit different because I don't remember a couple things that happened this time from last time. And I hope I see you guys out there sometime this summer racing. So we should have all races or go these days now that it's 2022. So hopefully I'll see you guys out there. Thanks for popping in, and I will talk to you soon. All right, bye.